Ja, frid och shalom. Välkomna till den 23 december idag. Dagen före dagen. Och igår så var jag ute och gick lite och titta vilken fin bild jag tog här på snön. Och jag tänkte vi skulle ta och läsa lite ur Jobs bok, några verser om snön, om moln och att Gud har full kontroll över var han sänder sina oväder och var han dundrar. Det står ju att Guds röst dundrar, och då står det här i Jobb 37:5. Gud dundrar underbart med sin röst. Han gör stora och outgrundliga ting. Snön befaller han, fall ner till jorden, och regnet, fall tunga skurar och regn. På alla människors händer sätter han ett insegel så att alla ska lära sig känna hans gärningar. Vilddjuren drar då in i sina gömslen. De blir kvar i sina hålor. Stormen kommer fram från sin kammare, och med nordanvinden följer köld. Gud sänder frost med sin andedräkt, och de vida vattnen fryser till. Han lastar skyarna med väta och sprider sina åskmoln vida omkring. De driver i alla riktningar efter hans rådslut och utför allt vad han befaller dem på jordens yta. Han låter dem komma för att straffa, eller för att gagna hans land, eller för att visa hans godhet. Lyssna till detta, du Jobb. Stanna och ge akt på Guds under. Det var alltså inte bara fin poesi, det var en sanning som presenterades. Att det är Gud som har fullständig kontroll över allt som rör sig, som tur är i den här tiden. Och när Gud dundrar så brukar ju det betyda att Gud är arg faktiskt. Det kan vi se på i Samuels boken till exempel. Kan vi se det. Men han älskar ju oss, tack och lov, och han har frälst oss med sitt blod. Vi hörs under dagen. Gud välsigna er alla. Amen.
The masses. And, you know, I've seen a lot of books on Christian subjects in my life. And this one catches the spirit of the times, I think, in a way that I haven't seen very much lately. And I want to go into, first of all, how did you come up with the cover of the book? Because it's really suited to what's inside.
Well, working with the publisher had this great idea. I think it's a brilliant idea, just looking at the whole book, the content of everything, and how the whole concept of the book even came about. And so just put in this question into an artificial intelligence program and ask the question, show me what the New World Order might look like. And this is completely AI generated. So it's not a compilation of what other people have put together, nor anything like that. And what's fascinating is on the cover, you'll see a big pyramid, and then you can see these heads, you see these different lights. I have a friend who worked for the military, and one of the secret stuff, he said he was down in Antarctica. And he goes, I was underneath things. There's buildings, there's all kinds of things in Antarctica that people don't know about. He said, that pyramid on the cover of your book, he goes, that looks so eerily like what I've seen that they have down there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I said. I didn't know that until he told me.
And then we could go farther, but then somebody would come in and knock on our door and say, you can't talk about that.
That's coming. We know that day's coming, don't we? The
do.
knock is going to come on the door, and they're going to say, look, the things that you guys talk about, you aren't going to talk about this anymore.
Well, to me, the cover looks like the Tower of Babel, the modern day Tower of Babel. And you know, if you will, AI and the whole scientific system that we have that's burgeoning right now, all of that reminds me of the Tower of Babel. We're going to build a tower that goes to the heavens, and we'll be able to converse with God on a face-to-face basis. You know, there's that kind of hubris there's that kind of pride in what's going on today.
Oh, well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because when we think AI developing the cover, it's just coming up with the drawing for the cover. And by the way, it wasn't AI that came up with the book. That was me. But it was.
Well, I'm glad.
And I'm not artificially intelligent. In fact, some people question my intelligence. But when we look at it with this, if you think, okay, AI came up with this, well, what happened at the Tower of Babel? That was Nimrod, the original type of Antichrist, who says, hey, you guys, let's build a tower to the heavens. And, you go into the Tower of Babel, which I do also talk about in the book, but you go into it and you look at it, what were they attempting to do? So it's not a coincidence. AI would certainly know what the Tower of Babel was, just from all the information that's out there. And what the Tower of Babel represented, Nimrod is behind it. So guess what? You come up with this picture on the front. It doesn't look like the Tower of Babel that was painted, a couple hundred years ago. This is a whole new picture that it came up with.
Yeah, and the whole Tower of Babel concept is that we can break through, if you will, a kind of a barrier between heaven and earth. And I think that modern man has that same idea fermenting in his mind these days.
Absolutely. So what's Nimrod promise? Listen, it was, I'm God. We're building above to the heavens. This is who we are. This is who I am. And there's this promise of peace. There's this promise of security from Nimrod. I'm going to take care of you. All is going to be good if you stay here with me, right? So God split that up. So what do we have the promise when it comes coming from artificial intelligence now, from the likes of people like Yuval Noah Harari and the rest of the people in the Silicon Valley and these globalists worldwide? The promise is same one in the Garden of Eden. Listen, if you listen to me, here's what God doesn't want you to know. You will be like God, and you will never die. So this is the promise that is coming through what we see, the direction of technology, all the whole socioeconomic system that's developing, all the cultural things that are developing. Everything is going this way. And the promise, people are very selfish. They're narcissistic by nature from birth. And because of that, this feeds into people. Just like the serpent with Eve, you'll be like God. You won't surely die. What's the promise? You're going to be like God. You're not going to die if you get augmented with this.
And what you're talking about is genetic manipulation, and through artificial intelligence, through computer generation. And computer generation is developing at such a rapid rate, you can't measure it. I mean, every week it's a new thing. But AI, they're saying now, can build supercells and super beings just by modifying the human genome. And does that not sound like something that we've read in the book of Revelation?
Oh, it absolutely does. I mean, when you start looking at the book of Revelation, you have so many different dynamics that are in there, whether it be the demonic things of Revelation chapter 9, but you walk right on through the process. And what happens to people when they receive the mark of the beast? Something happens to them. Certainly there's the spiritual dynamic, because we know from Revelation chapter 14, when a person receives the mark of the beast, the angel says, hey, there is no going back. You've lost, there's no hope for salvation for you. Your place is the lake of fire if you receive the mark of the beast. So and worship his image. So when you look at that, it's a spiritual dynamic. And as many people are pointing out now in the prophecy world, Bible prophecy world, look, with what's taking place with genetic engineering, with technology, it looks like there's a good chance. And I'd be one of those people that say, looks like there's a real good chance you will be augmented. Something is going to happen to you when you receive the mark of the beast. There's a spiritual dynamic, no doubt about that. I wouldn't argue against that with anybody, but it appears something else is also going on there. And what we're witnessing certainly gives us that insight.
Well, if you modify a human being, you raise an immediate question. Is that human being one of God's creatures?
Yeah.
Or is it one of the Antichrist creatures? In other words, would that individual who receives a genetic boost, if you will, be eligible to go to heaven? Or would that individual be rendered forever out of God's realm, out of God's regime, just ruled out by what he has done?
Well, a person's DNA wouldn't have to be changed much in order to mean they're no longer human. And when you start looking at it and you go, their genetic code. So you look at it, which, by the way, since there's a code, it also implies there's a creator. How could you have a code without a creator?
Exactly.
For all those, people arguing there is no creator. Well, guess what? It is, I believe, this attempt by the devil himself through his people that he works with on this planet to make these amendments. And make no mistake about it, when we listen to these technocrats talk, this is what they want to do. They want to change humanity. In fact, going back to somebody like Yuval Noah Harari, where he says, this is what they look at deplorables, which I deal with in the book to quite an extensive amount also when it comes to.
Well, you have a section in your book called Beastly Deceptions. And I think that's kind of where we are. We're talking about that. And it sends cold chills down your spine when you think about these things.
Oh, it totally does. So the deceptions they come with all the promises of all these wonderful things. But isn't this the way Satan appears, as an angel of light, going to appear good?
Yeah.
And I think, speaking of deception, Gary, also there's this concept that people think they're going to recognize Antichrist. He's going to have horns growing out of his head, or he's going to have a red cape on, or something like that. People, even in the Bible students, I believe for the most part, are pretty clueless just how radically deceptive Satan and Antichrist are. When Antichrist appears on the scene, he's going to be so loved, so charismatic. People are going to be so drawn to him in a way that this world never seen anybody like that.
Let me just interrupt you there. I have my Bible open to chapter 6 of Revelation, and the Lamb opens the first seal, and we all know what happens. A white horse comes forth. There's a man sitting on a white horse. He's got a bow, and he's got a crown, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. And I think there's been a lot of misunderstanding about what he does to conquer. The word conquer is usually a war term, like using weapons, having armies. But I'm beginning to think, no, that's not the way he conquers. He's conquering from the inside out. And we're seeing a lot of organizations develop worldwide that are designed to do just that, conquer society from the inside out by changing relationships, by changing the way humans think, react, maybe even genetically. That's conquering to me.
It is. In fact, there's when you look at this term conquering and the concept of it in that context, Gary, I think there's so many different things that are working together right now to bring about this conquering of humanity without firing a conventional weapon. And I think all of these things are weapons that are being used against humanity, but people don't know they are. So when we think of the mind being changed, okay, we understand Elon Musk wants to have Neuralink implanted into people. And we're see more companies now, tech companies are saying, hey, we want to do that to you. We want to do that to you. All these tech companies, they want to be able to augment human beings. So, and to change our minds, even change how we think. Okay, so that's technology. But what has happened in a very dramatic way, people's thinking has been altered without any technology yet. Just through, as we look at, we look, yeah.
Well, I'm holding one up right now, and everybody's got one of these. It used to be called a telephone. It used to sit on a tabletop, and it rang, and you would walk across the room to answer it. And
it had a cord attached to it.
Had a cord attached to it. How far have we come? And I watch people. I'm kind of a people watcher. I watch people driving. I watch people walking. I watch them at the mall, and they're all walking with one of these in front of their faces. Now, that's only one step short of being connected internationally without having to carry one of these devices. And that is frightening to me, I must say.
Oh, it is. We recognize from Revelation chapter 13, there's going to be no escape from this system, right? So what's interesting, since you mentioned the phone, it's voluntary, and yet people can't separate from it.
Yeah.
And with that, our minds, not yours or mine, I don't mean us, but collectively, the minds of the masses have been altered already without any implementation yet of something being planted into our brain, or without a mark on our right hand or forehead yet. The minds of the masses are already altered to a place of receiving all the different things that are coming. There's so much.